up a seat at the bar to join us for another episode of McAnally's Pubcast, a podcast exploring the fun and fantastical mind of Jim Butcher's The Dresden Files series. Hosts Tanzan, Jess, and Maggie bring you another round of literary analysis on this immense, immersive, and colorful environment inhabited by Harry Dresden, the world's only licensed private investigator and professional wizard. Join an active and engaged community of new and die-hard dedicated fans focused on the fabulous themes, theories, characters, context, lore, and more. This is McAnally's Dresden Files Pubcast by Free Flow Rambling. Conjure by it at your own risk.
Welcome to the McAnally's Pubcast, brought to you by Free Flow Rambling. This is episode 10.27, Ambushed, where we are covering the novel Death Masks. My name is Tanzan, and I'm joined by Maggie.
Hello, hello.
And Jess.
Hello, Governor.
Thank you to our Patreon subscribers for your generous support. It's people like you who help us do what we do. If you're not yet a Patreon subscriber, sign up today and get a fuck ton of bonus content, kick-ass merch, behind-the-scenes outtakes, and more. Sign up today at patreon.com/freeflowrambling. Chapter 30. As Ortega is ready to shoot Dresden, he is hit by sniper rifle. The duel is ambushed by numerous Red Court vampires and a fight ensues. The confrontation ends and Ortega has escaped, and the archive calls an end to the proceedings. Martin is revealed to be the gunman and promises to take care of an unconscious Susan.
So Dresden's like, what the fuck are you doing? You can't cheat. Like, they're gonna hear you and kill you. And Ortega's like, nah, okay, so I die. But I get to take you with me. Well, fuck. So, of course, he gets this whole concentration disruption.
It's not fair to have to dodge Mordite and a bullet. That's too many things.
Right? Right? And you got this whole thing going on later that you're probably trying not to,
Right, yeah, and the end of the world later, too. Yeah.
And...
I almost forgot. Sorry, Harry.
Yeah.
Silly me, concerned about a fucking vampire.
Yeah, right. So yeah, this is a great time to have like this battle of wills thing going on when it's like, oh, I need to really concentrate on something. Oh, I got like 50 bazillion things.
Never concentrated a day in my life.
Good thing Harry can compartmentalize so well.
Compartmentalize.
Yeah, laser dot appears on Ortega's chest, with which both Harry and Ortega notice at the same time. And boom! Suddenly his chest looks a little weird.
Boom! Roasted!
Dented, imploded. Yeah, well, I think, Ortega kind of notices Harry noticing him, and wait, what? And yeah, right then there's no wait until, like, see what he does next. This is not like a warning, like, oh, no, this is like, oh, somebody's trying to take you out, and boom.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
You're not the only one who can cheat, Ortega.
Right? But it's confusing because Harry didn't know he was cheating. So he's like, wait a minute, what?
This is why you bring a second, though. so Susan can toss you your staff when you need it in the moment.
Yeah, Ortega does try to take the shot, even though he's been shot himself, and it really kind of just misses wildly.
Yeah, well...
Harry takes advantage and pushes the Mordite sphere closer while dodging.
It's like, oh, well, fine. You want to distract me with shit? You're distracted now. I'm going to fling the Mordite back at you. See if you can dodge that now, bitch.
Right. Unfortunately, as mentioned, Ortega did bring this posse with him. So just as fast as Harry goes to fight him off, and Susan goes to jump into his defense as well, you've got this crowd of vampires spilling onto the pitch, too.
So, yeah, it kind of becomes a free-for-all pretty quickly. So Ortega is still taking at least 1-2 more shots. Like, this sniper is still taking...
Still able to fuck up Susan.
Well, the gunman doesn't fuck up Susan.
No, Ortega
fucks up Susan, yes.
Right. Ortega is also wielding a gun that makes him a gunman.
He makes the slip of his suit.
Yeah.
And gives a toss. She goes flying.
Yeah.
She's not meant to.
Vampires cannot fly.
No bat wings for her. Thomas jumps in and is doing stuff, and Susan jumps in and is doing stuff, and Ortega's guys jump in and start doing stuff, and there's more light flying around, and there's guns going off, and it becomes just a whole big, what the fuck is going on?
Super confusing, super quickly.
But it turns out Thomas isn't really helping his team.
What?
What?
Whoa!
Which is
Imagine
insane. Weird, because, you know, he was so heartfelt out in the parking lot there.
And this is what's so funny about this whole thing about Thomas's betrayal, is that the whole reason Thomas is even involved in this is because the Red Court was like, let's get the White Court involved and make a solidarity of the two largest vampire courts out here as a united front against the fucking White Council, right? And King Wraith was like, no, you started a war. You're at war with yourself. And on top of that, fine, here, take Thomas. Sure, united front with my stupid little shitty son. No problem.
Well, see, this is what's kind of funny. I'm like, pretty soon, like, you're not going to have a lot of allies left the way, because it's, or, again...
What's the thing about bad guys, though, is that they are turned on each other, too.
Well, yeah, I guess, but, you know, because, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just a Red thing, or maybe it's just, you know, who knows what other power plays he's got elsewhere, but exactly, it was like, that was kind of Bianca's whole thing at the party there, the masquerade, right, was like, oh, I invited Lord Wraith, and he's like, yeah, Thomas can go, maybe he'll get killed, you know, and then Ortega shows up and is like, hey, Wraith, old buddy, and he's like, no, I'll just, you know what I mean, I'm like, pretty soon they're gonna be like, fuck you, Wraith, like, don't bother asking Wraith for anything, you're just gonna send his dumbass son,
right,
you know, like, where do you show up to, you know, I'm like, is it just, like, these people you don't like, are you just being like, I don't really need an alliance with the Reds
and presumably,
in general?
You know,
like,
the King of the White Court has been
operating for
a while, so it's like, just how long has he been sending his sons in his place, and people are still trying.
Yeah.
Maybe this time.
Well, yeah, and so, you know, I mean, at least Thomas, we know, is...
We know from the party that his father sends him in his place to be chicken fodder and hopefully to not come back.
Yeah, I was going to say,
right?
we know he's like 30-ish or something, but I don't think we do know that yet. That was all I was going to say, but yeah.
Is the term chicken fodder?
Chicken feed? Cannon fodder?
Cannon fodder. Oh, man.
I just have visions of chickens flying high velocity.
Chicken on the run. They did.
Like, isn't the
Wallace and Gromit, okay? That's a totally
And
Dresden
now
Files
I
thing.
have flying chickens and corn nuggets flying everywhere.
That was Chicken Run, not Chicken on the Run, and
Okay.
Chicken on the Way is the one.
Oh my gosh.
That's right. I was like,
So many words in the English language. How am I meant to keep them all in order?
I don't know. I was like, wait, what?
I need a language with less words.
I'm pretty sure.
A gluschlublen.
Is that the only word in that language?
Glashableed. Schmaglidin.
Okay.
Kincaid retrieves the archive and produces a semi-automatic, which he takes out an interceding vampire while escaping.
Well, yeah, so even worse is that now, yeah, Ivy Kincaid, they gotta get involved too, right? Because it's like, you stupid bitches.
Well, yeah, right. His whole point is he's bodyguard to the right. He can't let it. So who knows? Is this just you guys doing your petty shit that's gonna, or is this some kind of camouflage attack on Ivy, or what? Right? Yeah.
Responding with extreme prejudice.
Yeah, and like, he doesn't cut corners, he doesn't wait, he starts with these fucking incendiary rounds that just...
And he's discarding just as quickly as he uses, which is...
This is the thing.
Yeah, I think my note is he's very, like, Terminator-esque style.
Totally.
Just one and done, and
One and done.
Get the next gun, get the next gun, yeah, so it's
And to the point of the craziness, too, is that, like, even Harry's like, I don't care about getting help from Thomas or Susan. You get Susan out of here. Like, shit's too crazy to focus on a plan right now. Just escape now.
Well, yeah, exactly, right? Because Thomas does go to give him a bit of a hand, and he's like, not me, go work. Because, again, yeah, Susan's just been flung across, and we haven't seen her since, so he's like, doesn't no idea what shape she's in. Although, we do have our... I want to say ubiquitous, but I'm not sure that's the right word here for what I want. But the golf bag is back. Because that's what Kincaid keeps pulling shotguns out of.
A very popular choice.
Clearly, you know.
I'm like, clearly this
Supernatural Costco is like really pushing the golf bags this summer.
You would think he would have used at least something baseball themed in this case, but going to Wrigley Stadium.
It's not a bat
gonna
bag.
bring a golf bag to the.
Well, but
to
you know what? The funny thing is,
field.
Kincaid is the caddy.
Right. Thomas warns Harry of an oncoming attack, and he manages to get out of the way of another vampire, but he is sprayed with venom. Fortunately, the anti-venom potion counters it, and Harry's able to nail it with a fire spell. So
keep his head, don't go
Thomas
crazy.
is definitely looking out for his back there.
Yeah, because he knows how fast it works too. So he's extra super glad like how fast it works in high quantities. So, and again, it just comes back to the whole thing that I'm like, great, these vampires just running around spitting all over you.
Gotta watch out for that.
Let me just drool buckets on you for a second.
I mean, that was basically Kelly and Kyle's whole.
Yeah,
Step one.
It's all.
Drool first, fight second.
Yeah, but it's you're in the middle of this whole how do you when you just working up a big load of I don't even.
Yeah.
You learn how to huck a loogie really, really
You've
far.
got
Right?
fucking special, acidic or
Do they have
Hypo-
how some snakes can shoot the venom?
Yeah.
Like
I
those
was just gonna
specialized ducts that.
I was just gonna say, I was thinking of that isn't that Jurassic Park with the little wing neck ruff thing? That they're just yeah.
gotta keep at least a 10-foot feet between you and any vampires, just in case.
Ugh. So, and then, meanwhile, Kincaid's things are just blasting these things apart
Getting them
Ladder.
down. Yeah. Tearing the shit out of them.
Yeah, there's not a lot of vampire left when he's done with it.
That's a note to vampires. Keep 10 feet between you and Kincaid.
Yeah, right.
And then furthermore, there's Ivy, who is not a little girl, actually. She needs Kincaid for the driving capabilities, okay? Not the protection.
Yeah, exactly. Not the bodyguard. You're right. That's not really his
Yeah, he's the designated adult as far as the human world is concerned, but when it comes to the supernatural, she's got herself handled because she's taken control of the Mordite back and is waving that bitch around like a baseball.
Yeah, because that's
not whatnot.
well, it's true. It's that sort of dichotomous. It's when she doesn't, he's there as the general bodyguard, but if things get really bad, then actually she's the, he's because he does protect and watch out.
Almost like Marcone. Marcone doesn't really want to lift his finger. He's going to let Guard and Hendricks do that, but if he's got to get into the fight, he's going to get into the fight.
That's true. He can hold his own. He can protect himself. Yeah. So while Kincaid's distracted with blasting away, somebody's trying to sneak up on him, and cute little Ivy steps out from behind this golf bag.
Brutal about it too, just one after the other, and it burns straight through them.
Yeah.
It's like that one guy that whistles in with the arrow in the Marvel.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, what's his name?
Where it's a bunch of them all at once, and he just whistles, and he gets that arrow through all of them. And
Yondu.
Yondu, yeah. Except hers is just a little bit more brutal, I think, because it just burns, and ash and bone is left
completely anti-life. So it leaves virtually nothing. And again, it's just that creepy.
The child's doing
sudden childlike no muss no fuss, you know what I mean. It's no big explosions, there's no big gore, it's just blink it out basically. Yep. It's just poof 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 gone, while she just stands there in her little hobbit cloak.
What'd you say, Billy Mundo? But Billy Mundo? Monster? I don't know what the fuck his name was.
Oh, the
Twilight Zone kid.
Twilight Zone kid, but I don't even know.
I've already forgotten.
Yeah, but that guy, we all know who we're talking about.
Exactly.
Everybody knows him. Yeah. Billy Mummy?
Yeah, I think
Mooney.
Mooney.
Anyways, okay. So, yeah.
So the attack eventually finally subsides. They lay a whooping on most of the vampires. And Ortega has seemed to have disappeared. And the archive asks Kincaid who broke the sanctity of the duel first, and Kincaid answers he doesn't know, but Harry was winning, as far as he was concerned, so...
Yeah, so they're not actually sure who, which is lucky for Harry, because otherwise, it would look real bad for him. But he also is like, as everything's calming down, he stops, and him and the archive are like looking at each other, and he's like, "Ooh, so okay." Like he's like, "Yeah, I'm not. Oh, wait,
Am I in trouble?"
like just like I'm gonna shut that down real quick before."
I do not want to see that. Whatever thing you've collected in 7 years is too much for me.
Yeah, and
whatever I've collected in 25 is too much for you.
Well, probably, but I'm like, I can only imagine like what kind of like. What would it like? So we got like Marcone's was like sort of this barren stainless steel, very organized, very, and you're like, what would Ivy's, and like, would it just be like some kind of crazy endless library? Because what would it, would it be like how would hers manifest? It makes me wonder, sort of.
I think it would blow his brain up.
I think it would, but what's
just too much?
Yeah, which is exactly why he doesn't want to. But you know what I mean?
But that's also like knowledge versus soul.
Yeah, but that's just it exactly. It's like, would it be like the accumulated things that she known that would be too much? Would it just be the force of it? Would it be like, you know what I mean? It's just kind of like, how would everything that she's got?
I can't remember what it's from. If it's Percy Jackson or if it's Dresden Files with like the queens or what. Like if you look at their true form, it's like gonna like sear your eyes. Like you got.
That's the gods. You can't look at the. Well, you can't look at the.
Is that the
Fairy
Percy
Queens.
Jackson books though?
That's Percy Jackson's. Yeah. Is that if they? Yeah,
you
have
to
turn away before you see their. True
I imagine
form.
It's almost a similar thing like that. Like it'd just be so much power in this little girl, but like you'd just be like rocking on the floor. Like what the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that?
Maybe it's just you get a taste of that with the queens, where it's like if we try to look at them with a sight, and she's like, no. But yeah, the gods will melt you into a puddle if you look upon them in their true form.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe that might be a good just.
There's definitely at that moment in time, it's like just a delay enough of like, oh shit, am I in deep trouble? And I think the archive has made a choice based on more of a personal influence rather than because they don't know one way or the other. But I think just based on what she says, how she thanks the time with that she had with Mister.
Yeah.
And thanks him for giving her a name.
Maybe a little bit of
that that's her little hint of like because you were good to me.
Mm-hmm. Hint. Nudge, nudge.
I'm gonna let this go.
Yeah, like a little bit of a character judgment there. That Kincaid's like, I can't tell, but Dresden was winning, so there's no reason for Dresden to have been the one to start cheating if he was ahead, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, exactly. And then, but it's just, I like kind of, because that's like what we were all thinking, but he's like, I don't know, just the way she says that's just like, thanks for letting me play with your kitties. Like, it just sounded so final. I'm like, oh my god, is she going to kill me, Yeah. And then she's like, okay, bye.
I like to, and she's like, these proceedings are concluded. And he's like, the smoldering.
He's like, I look around.
Yeah.
You think?
Stickler for protocol.
Thomas is gone, Susan is gone, Ortega's gone. It's just me and a bunch of dead vampires. I think we're good,
yeah, I think that's the end of the... And then she's just like, okay, it's past my bedtime.
She instructs Kincaid to take her home, and he tells her that they're stopping for drive-thru because he's starving, and she is going to have cookies. She says they're bad for me, but she doesn't decline.
Right. You can have the cookies. They're not good for you. I know, she's just the cutest thing ever. But yeah, it's just the sweetest, like, just, not just like, thanks for letting me play with your kitty, and thanks for my name, Mr. Dresden. It's like, oh.
I was just babysitting my niece, and she was telling me a story. She was playing with my rubber ducks, and I've got multiple sized rubber ducks. And she was like, yeah. And then all the rubber ducks just had moms. And I'm like, what, no dad? She's like, no, they all got shot in the head. I'm like, what?
4.5.
I was like, I said nothing to suggest that the fathers were dead. I just wanted to know which of the ducks were male. And she's like, no, all the fathers were shot in the head. I'm like, excuse me? And she's like, yeah. And I got out my phone. I'm like, will you say it one more time on camera? She's like, all the fathers got shot in the head. I'm like, okay, cool game.
I was out getting ready, and I come back and she's telling me this. I'm like, she did not say that. And she like immediately whips out her phone and is like, play. I'm like, she did say
These little kids are so creepy, man.
It was, it really was, because I'm like, okay, I could have understood if there was just no, she doesn't have, her dad walks out, is gone, she hasn't seen him since she was barely 2, I think. And he just has not been around at all, so she doesn't have a dad. I get that. There's a lot of families like that. That's the thing. So I'm like, I can understand that you're
your playtime doesn't have a dad, sure.
Yeah.
But no, she fully killed them all off.
Yeah, and then the other flip side of that is very funny, because most of the time when she plays and she's in her dollhouse, everything does have, like, again, everything is by size. The biggest one is the daddy, the middle one is the mommy, the smallest one is the baby. But apparently not when you have a
1,000 rubber duckies.
1,000 rubber duckies of varying size. Yeah.
These little kids are creepy, man. I don't trust any of them.
No, you never know. It's there was the whole thing on the Spirits podcast too, where they'd always have like the creepy children thing, and it was just, and they're like, "Were you that?" And it was funny because they'll get like, not viewer, listener response things in and stuff like that, and then they're like, "I was that creepy kid." And they're like, "Ah." Or at least kind of interesting. Like, that's just nope, don't like, not good.
Stay away from the kids.
Stay away from the kids.
So here's where we find out that Kincaid was using incendiary rounds, which explains like the flaming effect that's going on.
Yeah,
through the shots, and Harry asks him where he can pick some up, and Kincaid totally sets him up. So they knew, they had to have known something was going to happen. Like they're fully prepared for the whole double cross, the ambush.
Well, the first time he ever met Kincaid said how he'd kill Harry. Like, Kincaid doesn't show up places without a fucking backup plan on who the fuck is gonna be there and how the fuck he's gonna deal with them, right?
For a contingency.
And he totally is like these guns, like, he was discarding the guns because they were warping with the amount of heat from these incendiary
These blasts are so
he's, not only is he prepared enough to have the incendiary rounds, but prepared enough to know how they work, and they're gonna warp the fucking gun one shot in. Like
that, you can only use them one at a time if you plunk them in a regular old shotgun.
Yeah.
Like,
prepared with, like, the insulated blanket and everything. And
you'd have to be going to, like, like the pick and pull auto shop, but it's for like gun parts. It's like, I don't need it to be good. I need one shot at it, right? Like, give me like 40 of your shittiest rifles, okay? I'll make it work. Like,
oh my god, can you imagine Ivy's connections? So, like, anytime she's like, I know exactly where, like, all the gun dealers are and what they've got and stuff, I mean,
she's got their inventory written down.
Yeah, right.
She never has to wonder about, like, oh, is my favorite cookies going to be at Walmart? She's like, the Walmart on this corner has 17 boxes.
Go straight to Zeus. Exactly.
I mean, do arms dealers keep a written inventory?
They've got to keep something
legal
somewhere,
ones,
though.
Legal ones. Illegal ones would have to, too, though, because that's keep track of who's ripping you off.
Yeah, even the illegal ones have to have some kind. I mean, they got...
I've seen We're the Millers, okay?
Yeah,
they write it down.
You got text messages and shit about what's coming in
Breaking
where.
Bad, he wrote down shit.
Right?
I'm sure drugs.
If you're gonna run a business, you can't do it all in your head all the time. There's right. So yeah, exactly. She knows where Shady Joe, like what alley he's gonna. Or at least but yeah.
Shady Joe. He's writing it on like a gum wrapper, and she's still got it.
I wonder if the advent of text messaging, like she's like. The amount of stuff she knows because of that.
Well, yeah, that's the crazy thing is, like, that's why, like, the archive, her mom went crazy, Her mom was there. Yeah. Her mom was in charge when the internet became a thing, and she just was gone from there.
Peace out.
At least Ivy was born into the internet age, right? Her mom was there when that click happened and was like, that's it, bye.
Yeah. Yeah, no, so I'm sure Kincaid knows where to get all the good toys, and I just love this little, like, bonding moment, right, where he's like, oh, I know a guy, like, I'll set you up, I'll get him for you, and he's like, oh, okay, cool, thanks, and, and it's just, like,
I've got friends in low places. But Susan's okay, and Martin's here. Hi, Martin.
Hey,
what the fuck?
You're the gunman? Of course I was. Like, of course? What do you mean, of course? What the fuck?
Why do you think we're in Chicago?
Susan came to pick up her stuff. Oh, sure she did.
And we're not dating.
Oh, ouch. If you believe that story from her. Oh, man.
Oui, vey. So, another fun plot twist. As we get to the end of the book, it's going to be plot twist after plot twist after plot twist, but, like, turns out the whole reason Susan and Martin came to Chicago in the first place was because Ortega came to Chicago?
What?
And their job was to save Harry.
Mm-hmm. Well, not to save Harry, but to make sure that Ortega died.
Right.
Whether or not that meant saving Harry or not.
They basically had Ortega's plan from the other side.
Mm-hmm.
That just Ortega was...
They knew he was coming to...
Ortega was the only plan, the one to take it out, whereas Harry was the other side of it, but Harry wasn't the one that was going to cheat at all costs and know that it had to be, because they're like, no, we need the war to keep going, because otherwise they're going to come back better prepared. in a few years when we're not. Because we're going to be like, oh, we just made peace. Everything's fine and dandy. So yeah, it's basically the exact same thing that Ortega was doing, just Ortega was the one that knew what the plan was and Harry didn't.
We also find that that Ortega was retrieved by a couple of his vassals, so he did escape.
Yep, he is not around. And then Thomas does this fancy little spot. Well, I guess this is before. But yeah, like, he goes over to check on Susan, and Thomas, like, pulls out a pen and is like, clear, like, puts his pen away, and, and then, yeah, just, like, that's where Martin,
spy
like,
pen.
When were you in cahoots with Martin? Because at first I'm thinking, like, oh, he's gonna have his, buddies, like, roll up in some extra cars. And no, it's not more like Whites or buddies or anything like that. That's when fucking Martin comes down. And he's like, did they, like, was this, like, long in advance? Was this, like, once you got to the stadium, Martin was like, hey, here, tell me when, like, you know what I mean? I was like, when did you get your super fancy spy pen from Martin? Like, what? Well, I'm not expecting Martin and Thomas.
The thing is that, yeah, my whole, like, in my mind, they just found out about Ortega because they operate out of South America, right? So it's like through their vampire things, they were down there, whatever.
Well, yeah, they're keeping tabs on.
And then they find out, like, oh, he wants to go talk to the White King. Well, the White King hasn't shown up for an event in 100 years, so let's go talk to his son.
Or, yeah, exactly. They're like,
they're been at a beach house for the last year.
They're like, oh, he's sending Thomas. Okay, I know who we can. So it's like, we know Thomas is going to go do fuck for him.
Susan has a bit of a background, at least with Thomas, right? Like, he was one of the people that helped her sort of get her urges under control. Wasn't he the one?
No,
like,
Susan went to go do that herself, and I guess Thomas did talk to her
because she was like trying to learn. She ended up learning a bit more about
Thomas explained it. Yeah, Thomas
him.
sort of explained what her new vampirism was.
Yeah, that is true.
So she did make a connection with him that way. So he probably was like, "Guess what I had happen? I gotta be the second. I got the in."
Well, yeah. Who knows how? Yeah, Harry was scrambling around trying to find a second. Who knows how far in advance Ortega gave Thomas notice. It could have been before he came to town, but...
It's very funny that Thomas wouldn't tell Harry when the meeting was happening, because he's like, I'm not your second, go get your own bitch. And he's like, but I do have a call to make to Martin.
Yeah, like... Hey, man, you got it.
He had his pen on him the entire time.
Oh, yeah, he didn't have to call Martin,
Martin's just listening in. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Keep all those things separate, you know what I mean? Like, hey, can't trace it back to Harry.
But how annoying for Harry. Can't even trust Thomas. This bitch is also running around behind your back.
Yeah. It's all just very,
I'm
like,
just a drunken, chemical, besotted playboy. I'm too pretty. So
Martin also declares that, because Thomas is like, she'll live, and Harry's like, okay, I can get a pulse, and Thomas is like, yeah, she's gonna be sore, but she'll be fine. So, and he's still gotta get on with things, so they're going to he's like, still relies on them to get Susan out of there, because he's like, he would like to know, but basically, yeah, they're all like, she's not gonna die, and Harry's like, hey, I still got places to be, so I'll catch up with you later, kind of a thing.
And Martin really is the best person to take care of her in this situation for...
Yeah.
They can't go to a hospital.
Yeah, exactly, right, because they're like, well, that's going to be a whole big other problem issue. And I like, again, where it's not even just like, oh, like, hospitals have to report gunshot wounds. Thomas is like, yeah, think about this, Harry. You don't want her waking up, tired and hungry. In a big old candy store. Ooh, yeah, good point. So reluctant as he is, he kind of doesn't have a lot of choices.
I got other things to do.
So yeah, allows...
But the fact that Harry came out of that as unscathed as he did, like, he's basically walking out of there without a scratch.
Like, basically just like this whole tornado happened around him.
Yeah, like...
Yeah, just, he went to go have one simple, ordinary, by-the-book duel.
Yep. It's not his fault. Everyone cheated around him.
And chaos and... Yeah, exactly, right?
You see, cheaters never prosper.
Well, it depends what side you're on, because Martin cheated and his side is winning so far, so I don't know. But yeah, it's a whole big, like, yeah, basically, it's that whole, like, bringing a gun to a knife fight or something. Like, Harry went there with, like, a baseball bat, and everybody suddenly turned out to have fucking, like, cannons. It was like, what? Excuse me? Like, I just took off my coat, so I was like, I don't need anything, we're doing well.
Crazy how that happens.
Crazy insanity.
Yeah. But I mean, really, like, when a fight is going that fast, too, right? It is a little bit of just, like, the rubbernecking, like, holy shit, I'm alive.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, pretty much, exactly, right? Like, again, it's one of those things where you're like, you're lucky you got off anything, because if that was me, I'd probably still be sitting there going, wait, who said what? You know? Like,
it helps that, when everything around you can run as fast as a tornado.
oh, well, there you go.
It's probably really good that Thomas was on the side of... that he was helping out.
Well, yeah, because that would have been a whole different thing if Thomas had actually
always bring
pitched...
a vampire to a vampire fight.
He'd bring opposite vampires to a vampire fight, because, yeah, if Thomas had pitched in at all on their side, would have been a very different story completely there.
It's a good thing, we've had a lot of stop and starts about Thomas this book. That's good. Next book, it'll be... So let's just talk about the white vampires, okay? Let's just get this out of the way now. Know everything we know, because...
No, bite your tongue for a few more chapters. So he's got to get going, and Thomas is
Congrats,
like,
you survived your duel.
You survived your duel.
I mean, Ortega might kill all your friends anyways, because he still has all the guys. He clearly managed to make it out of...
step one, back, same problem.
He clearly managed to get out of this fight, because his body isn't among the wreckage, but, I mean, you survived one duel.
You're back to square one, where both of you are still out there, nothing has been resolved.
It's funny, too, that Harry feels so confident to head off to the airport, too. Like, I'd be like, well, all my friends are about to be killed right now. Like,
yeah, like, again, I mean, I guess there's maybe the whole thing where he's like, well, Ortega's got to go and, like, recover and recuperate, but I mean, like you say, it's not Ortega that's personally going to take out everyone. He can just be like, do it now.
Get out his pen and say clear.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I think he promises it's his thralls that are going to do it. So they're humans even that are...
Well, whatever.
Can come out at any point.
Exactly.
They'll never see it coming.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
that's why I find it surprising that Harry was like, I understand you got to compartmentalize. You can't be 100 locations at once, but it's still surprising me that Harry's just like, I don't have time for that. It's like, okay, but
we just got to rely that the author is not going to make me have to go save all of my friends instantaneously right now.
Right. But
this is the time traveling thing again, and Harry actually did have to go and save them all individually, one by one by one, but we're not going to get that until way more later books.
No, there you go, more of that time paradox.
I don't get how Harry was so confident to be like, well, we've got one on Charity and her whole family, and we've got one on Murphy, but Murphy and Michael and Sonia are going to meet me at the airport, so at least I'll have those three covered. It's like, there's still, we don't know the numbers exactly, but clearly, Ebenezer, how the fuck are you going to get to Missouri and save Ebenezer, right? Obviously, Ebenezer's his own man, but...
Well, and you gotta wonder is, I mean, other than, like,
who do you
Nick
warn
and a
and
couple
save
of...
and protect? Yeah, the Alphas, too. Like, maybe the Alphas can take on a Thrall.
But again, that's if and when you know. If you're gonna pull a Kincaid and shoot them with a high-powered rifle from half a mile away...
You don't know, right?
There's not a lot you can do about that. Yeah, if a vampire's gonna show up and be like, yo, I'm gonna bite you, then sure, Billy's got time to be like, well, I'm gonna wolf out and fight you. But yeah.
Yeah, in the middle of class, though, and you're not expecting it.
I guess he's just really hoping that, that Ortega's contingency plan was not to go into effect instantly. Yeah.
Although he's got not much of a choice to go to the airport, because that's pretty much apocalyptic level
Which I agree. Like, he doesn't have much of a choice
here.
But that's why I think my time traveling is like maybe
20 people
Harry
dying
did.
Or hundreds and millions and
maybe that's it. Maybe it's
thousands.
Maybe he knows he's like, well, Ortega can just wait and see. If anybody survives this plague apocalypse, then Ortega doesn't have to lift a finger. Are they gonna come out of it? Because we might all die anyways, everyone in Chicago, so... But yeah, he's got to see some people about an old man and a bitch.
This concludes our episode 10.27, Ambushed. Thank you for listening. You can find us online at freeflowrambling.com and McAnallys.ca. There we have links to our other podcasts, social media, and other fun tidbits. Please subscribe if you like what you're hearing, and please consider supporting us through Patreon to keep the magic alive and to see more content. We are Free Flow Rambling. Conjure by it at your own risk.